Hello, what's up? Nice to see you. Even though not here yet, I've got one like. Who be that? It must be a ghost, the ghost in the machine. Let's see, live chat. I'll give a minute for people to find the live stream and I'll get started with my regular like disclaimer, boring stuff. Get that out of the way. I've got a lot I want to talk about tonight. Hopefully I'll be able to remember everything. I was having a lot of trouble last night remembering stuff. Like I called Sausalito, whatever, Salina. That was crazy. And I forgot to mention one of the really interesting things about Otis Redding writing that song, sitting on the dock of the bay, looking at San Francisco from Sausalito, is that he passed away in a car crash like a week later. Like, we are so lucky we got that song out of him before he passed away. And I've got my American flag hat on, which I want to say this has been the first time I've worn an American flag since I have felt like they got stolen and hijacked by somebody that I'm not real fond of. You know who I'm talking about. You know, the guy who thinks that the Super Bowl should be named after him. The Super Bowl, basically every airport, every road, everything should be named after him. Every building, every country, every bottle. Yeah, every water bottle too. No, but every body of water, everything. I'm surprised he didn't name all of his sons after himself. You know, like George Foreman did that. He had George 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Kind of weird, but okay. I mean, we do like George Foreman, don't we? He brought us the grills, and not the kind in the teeth, and not the kind on the car, the kind that cooks really delicious food and healthy too. The George Foreman grill. Dang, what a great invention. So I think you can almost see the thumb hiding here in the corner. Please hit your like button if you don't mind my asking. And make sure you're still subscribed in the event that you are subscribed. Sometimes we get unsubscribed without our knowledge. And I think sometimes it's part of the shadow banning. Sometimes it's just a glitch. I don't know. Sometimes I like to pretend that all of the shadow banning is just a glitch because it's part of the gaslighting, you know, to make you think that you don't have as many views or whatever. It's gaslighting is so annoying. Share a video of mine with somebody that you think might like my channel. So if you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. I do want to grow my channel because, you know, the way I see everything in life is you're either in a process of growth or a process of decay. Nothing stays the same. And that I feel like is a key to understanding success and health and basically everything moving forward, not backwards, right? Turn on your notification bell to ring. Enough of lecturing, you guys. You're smart. I know that. That's why I love coming on live and talking to my people to enlighten me brain. Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, learn something, be educational. All these videos are made for the tube of you and me, and it's an infotainment platform. So I titled my video about the bad assery bunny. And it was only like an hour ago, I was texting with one of my mods, and all of a sudden the obvious just dawned on me. And I'm like, again, the problem with being gaslit is it's so hard to see what's right in front of you. El Presidente has a huge crush on like Mandami, on Vladdy, on Osama bin, you know, MBS, we'll just call him that. He has a huge crush on those men. And who's hotter than all dudes at the moment? Bad Bunny? Isn't he like 6'5"? He's breathtaking. He's beautiful. He's gorgeous. And he's confident. And he's kind of humble. Again, that nice balance that's so hard to strike of being both confident and humble. Like Savannah Guthrie. And we'll talk about her too. Because it's my suspicion that this whole evil kidnapping plan of Nancy Guthrie has been part of the gaslighting of the nation and part of the gaslighting of the Guthries and part of the distracting from you know who doing you know what today. Effing jizz, disgusting piece of crap that she is. So she thinks she's going to get out of prison. Good luck with that. I mean, he could try. It might just blow up in his face. But man, has that dude, El Presidente, gotten himself painted into a corner like no one you've ever seen. He's put himself in checkmate. You know, he thinks he knows how to play 4-dimensional chess. He can't even play checkers. OMG. So I got nobody here. Where's my girl? Where's my guys? Where's Fred Field? I hope he's okay. It's been a while. And again, probably my did I put his name in my title? I think I might have. Did I? I think I did. So no one's going to see my live. Let me look real quick. I literally might have to change that because, yeah, I learned a long time ago, you can't be putting that name in your titles. It don't fly. Let's see. Kind of funny, not funny. No, I just said someone, right? Let's see. Yes, I did not put his name. I'm smart like that. I called it badassery, good bunny, bad bunny. Someone has a huge crush and the feelings are not returned. Sad mama. So, yeah, it's very sad. And let's talk about Nancy Guthrie because you know, there's boots on the ground. There's Brian Enton is doing the boots on the ground really well. We want to give huge applause to him. I even want to give huge applause to JLR. Sorry, I bit my tongue. I probably bit my tongue because I really don't like talking negatively about any other channel, no matter what, you know, to each their own. But JLR did a 8 or 9 hour video live stream yesterday in front of the Guthrie's home. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But what I do think that there's something wrong with the baiting and the switching of our thumbnails and the titles of our thumbnails when it's baiting and switching. And he called his video something like Nancy Guthrie's home. It might have even been like law enforcement returns and period, and then Nancy Guthrie's home, period. And when I saw that, I'm like, what? She is? And then I immediately understood, no, I get it. He's playing on that. And so he had almost 1 million views. I'm like, who the F watches an 8 hour live stream? But this is the way YouTube works. If you have 1 million views and you have a large channel, like, you know, like he does, I haven't checked lately. He's probably up to like 200,000. Let's see. He's a very big channel. Let's just Google it or look it up on the YouTubans, JLR. And I do appreciate his boots on the ground investigating. I just think he can do better. That's what I think. Wow, he's got almost 500,000 subs. Good for him. Good for him. He works hard, but he needs to not be doing bait and switch thumbnails. He even came to Springfield, Ohio to investigate if anybody was really eating cats and dogs, and he did a great job with that. And, he's one of the many people that camped out in front of the Laundrie's house when Gabby Petito was missing. And I appreciate all of those people. It's good to apply pressure like that in legal, peaceful ways to protest and be annoying and get your point across when it's important like that. He also went to Moscow and showed up at the Taco Bell that had food delivered to Xana. Yeah, Xana. I almost said Xaname. The food delivery to Xana at 4 a.m. He even went to that Taco Bell early in that case and tried to speak with, I think it was somebody named Molly. That was, I don't know if that was like a play on words, because we all know what Molly is. But yeah, I mean, it makes a big difference when you go somewhere in person, even way after the fact, just to know the place, to know the surroundings, to know the lay of the land. So, but the bait and switch, not cool at all. And, it really, I think it makes all YouTubers look bad. And I think that making YouTube look bad is a huge goal of mainstream media, and we need to preserve the truth and integrity that we can, in my humble opinion. So let me look in my books. I still can't believe nobody's here. Is it because I said badassery? I figured that wasn't really a bad word in my title, because it's not really a word. It's a good word, actually, in my opinion. So let's see. I got a couple of books here. I've got my large sketcher book, and today's the 9th. It's Monday. The day after tomorrow, Pamela Bondi is supposedly going to be testifying in front of Congress. And then I don't know if it's the end of this week or the beginning of next week that supposedly Les Wex is supposed to be testifying. There's a lot of things that are cooking right now that are really disgusting and difficult to talk about. And you know me, I try to just put those things right out in front. And it's stuff that I've been talking about for a long time, but I've been talking about things like the baby farms, as like a potential conspiracy theory, because it sounds so effing crazy, but it is a thing that is part of the Trumpstein files. And these megalomaniacs, these billionaires, they are all into the eugenics. They're all into populating the world with their seed. You look at Tesla owner, you look at little E. I don't know that there's others that are so blatant about it. I mean, there's been people arrested over the years. I remember there was like one, was that in Arizona, that doctor that impregnated everybody at his fertility clinic with his own disgusting zygote, or is it a zygote when it's not impregnated? I think it is. I think it's a zygote until it fertilizes. But let me Google that real quick. The doctor, I think he impregnated like 160 women. And I'm thinking it was Arizona, wasn't it? Arizona was where there was a hate crime, I think last year, at a fertility clinic, right? And that was right around the same time as something else big. It's impossible to keep up with our news cycle, is it not? Even when you write stuff down and pay close attention. So let's see if my voice to text will work. It is like in and out. I don't think it's working at the moment. The fertility doctor no, it's not doing it. Fertility. Sorry, that slows me down. Fertility, doctor impregnating with his own genes. It was Indiana. Dr. Donald Klein fathered at least 94 children. He was convicted in 2017. No, he's not the only one. So I was going to say, it seems like it was further back than that. Dr. Carbot in the Netherlands, suspected of fathering up to 200 children, confirmed at least 49. Dr. Jacobson, Virginia, admitted to using his own sperm to inseminate patients between 1976 and 1988, potentially fathering up to 75 children. Dr. Norman Barwin, Ontario, Canada, and 50 to 100 children. These cases are often uncovered through modern at-home DNA tests like 23andMe, which reveals that patients have dozens of half-siblings they were not aware of. What a mind F. So something that I thought of yesterday, I think, that I'm just like, that might even, believe it or not, could connect something like little e to something like the terrible Tepe homicides. Michael McKee was adopted. And how do we know anybody that's adopted wasn't a product of something like that? Right, dang it, Nancy? Hello, my dear. How are you? Good afternoon, Jazz. Am I the only one here? It looks like you are. It's weird because I know Anna Bees was excited to be here, and a couple of other regulars that are my mods that kind of hang in the background and don't comment. They were excited to be here, and I texted them and let them know. Maybe I'll text them again. They probably thought that I was going to keep rescheduling it the way I used to. I'm trying not to do that anymore. And let's see. How are you, my dear? What's going on? What have you been paying attention to in the news today? Anything you want to talk about? I'm wanting to talk about the Trumpstein files and Savannah Guthrie's terrible situation. She made another plea to the public just, I think, in the last couple of hours, just asking anybody nationwide if they have any idea of anything to call it into the authorities. And, I don't know that includes me. I mean, I guess it does, but it's like I don't want to be calling in information that isn't going to be helpful. I don't know that accusing the leader of our country is going to go anywhere, because he's probably in charge of the investigation. I mean, we know that CASHAPP is in charge of the investigation, and he was, I think, going to be arriving on scene today, as long as they can find him the right jacket with the right patches on it, or else he won't get off the plane. So yeah, I think that it's imperative to look at him, the things that he says, the things that he does, and the way this case has gone. And I've watched a lot of professionals commentary on the case in general, because everyone's getting suspicious that everything is wonky, that this is just like the most bizarre case. I mean, I would listen to law enforcement officer that Brian Enton interviewed in Arizona there, who lives in the area and is retired, but he has over 20 years experience. 7 of those years were as a homicide detective. He said this is like nothing he's ever seen anywhere. Did you know Samantha Guthrie and her husband Michael Feldman were mentioned in the Epstein files? Yes, I did. Michael worked in the White House with Clinton and Al Gore scrubbing Clinton's crime files. Yeah, I knew that. Dang it, Nancy. And did you know that Savannah Guthrie, she facilitated a conversation between Governor Cox of Utah and Governor Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania. She facilitated a discussion about political violence between the two of them just this past December 9th. I looked it up because I was confused if it was the 6th or the 9th, at the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. But our president had yelled at her and been pissed off with her ever since she interviewed him 6 years ago and pressed him on issues like political violence and his flippant attitude and his tendency to like fan the flames. And he got really mad at her, and she continued to press the way an investigative journalist does. And he did everything other than call her nasty. He said she was a crazed lunatic. Same Savannah Guthrie that a couple days ago he says he's always liked. And that he also said she was yelling at him the whole time in the interview. She was yelling questions at him the whole time like a crazed lunatic. And then she won an Emmy. And one of the investigative journalists that covered closely her winning of that Emmy for the Today Show for the interviewing of the Trumpster fire was none other than Don Lemon, who was also arrested for being an investigative journalist from the Grammys in Los Angeles, like the week before Savannah Guthrie's mother goes missing. So also, did you know Savannah had surgery on her throat? So she was not able to work from December 16th until I think around December 25th. She had to take 6 weeks off. She literally lost her voice. She had like a bleeding nodule on her vocal cords that can be caused by poisoning. So she'd only been back at work the Monday before her mom went missing the following weekend. It's just a little suspicious, if not more than a little suspicious. Savannah also gave the interview with Virginia. Exactly. Dang it, Nancy. Thank you. See, there's so much to cover. It's easy to forget. Like, that's one of the main things. Savannah Guthrie interviewed Virginia Giuffre multiple times. She interviewed a lot of the accusers, the survivors, and they were doing an expose, like, I don't remember if it was Dateline or 60 Minutes or 48 Hours in 2019. And Virginia mentions it in her book. She was devastated when the plug got pulled on it last minute and nobody ever explained to her why. So it's never been aired. But yeah, the Trumpster fire is raging towards her. Her mother goes missing. He's silent, and the silence speaks volumes. Everyone knows the earlier in the investigation you get on it, the better. The better the chances are of survival, the better the chances are of recovery, the better the chances are of the people not being able to leave the country, disappear. The longer it takes to find them, the further away they can get. So, it wasn't until the middle of the week that he started announcing that he was going to call her. Like, you don't announce that you're going to call somebody. You're the president. You just do it. And then he was also announcing that he was going to get like all of the authorities at the Guthrie family's disposal. And it's like, well, of course you are. Again, you don't need to advertise it. Like, he just, everything is all about him. It's so disgusting. Even this effing Super Bowl crap. And all he's doing is like fanning the flames of fame and fortune for Bad Bunny. The more he tries to do the cancel culture thing on him, the more he's elevating Bad Bunny's profile, because there's still a lot of people that have not heard of him. I mean, not after yesterday, but it's kind of similar to what they call the Streisand effect, when you're trying to hide something, but you end up in your efforts of trying to hide it, bringing much more attention to it. Like that's what they've been doing with the that badass bunny. Samantha, yeah, Savannah, baby. Maybe you're doing voice to text and it keeps giving you Samantha, but I know what you mean. I know I was calling her Susanna, which, yeah, Savannah Guthrie. It's such a beautiful name, Savannah, like Savannah, Georgia. Not that Susanna and Samantha aren't cool names too. She has How Much Time Left to Pay. And see, that's another really bizarre piece of the ransom and the kidnapping, is that they waited 2 days before a ransom note. You know, they've arrested one person, a 42-year-old, that did a fake ransom note. I think that was the one sent through TMZ. And then they're not even sure if the other party sending the ransom notes is legit or not. I believe that what they're thinking, and forgive me, and we do want to pray and remain hopeful, but we also want to be realistic. I believe what they're thinking in the investigation at this point is that she was unalived in her own home and then taken out. And I think that's why they were searching in the back. I think that's why yesterday they were searching and again, trigger warning, they were searching in the septic tank. I mean, they might have been looking for a weapon, but I think they were looking for evidence of her, maybe a homicide in the cleanup, because from the electronic data that they have, like the garage door opening and closing when she got home at roughly 10 something, and then her pacemaker disengaging from her cell phone, I think at about 2 a.m., but maybe at sometime around 1:15 a.m., there was like a person caught on the surveillance camera, but the surveillance camera is not recording because they quit paying the subscription. It's like a Ring camera. And so you can see with it, you can see like a live feed, but it's not recording, allegedly. My guess is that it is in the cloud somewhere. So they think they saw a person on her surveillance, but they can't see the person around 1:15, and then it was roughly 2 o'clock when her pacemaker disengaged from the electronic system in the home that I think was a cell phone. I mean, an Apple Watch, I think, something like that, one of the two. And so they're saying in those 45 minutes that there was probably somebody in the home with her for 45 minutes. Like, what would they be doing for 45 minutes? That's a pretty long time, unless, I mean, Lord knows. And it's horrible to think about what they were doing. Assaulting her, harming her, blindfolding her, binding her hands and feet. I mean, just terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. And maybe simply unaliving her when she was still asleep. And then we don't know. 84 years old, without medication. So one of the things that some of the professional profilers have been saying, like the FBI profilers, that for the most part, Brian Enton is interviewing all these amazing people. They've been saying that a kidnapper will try to make it obvious to the family that they're taking good care of the person, that they intend to take care of the person by taking things from the home, like their medication, like their clothing, really sending a message. Actually, that information, I think, was from the law enforcement officer with 20 years experience in the area, the one that did homicide for 7 years, 7 of those years. Anyway, the fact that they waited 2 days to do a ransom note is suspicious, is strange. In my opinion, a kidnapping is strange. A kidnapping of an elderly woman is extraordinarily strange. And this whole ransom crap is extraordinarily strange. And the Bitcoin piece of it is extraordinarily strange. And in my opinion, it all just conjures up like Hawaii Five-0 in 1970s cop shows and movies. And, you know, the angry orange man is stuck in the 70s, in my opinion. Like everything in his brain is stuck in the 70s. But, you know, if it's something that he's behind, it's retribution to Savannah. It's getting a message across to all the other journalists in the world and anybody who has dared to cross him, dared to challenge him. And it's also it's 3 things. It's also a perfect distraction from the Trumpstein files and Ghislaine's testimony that was provided today, if you want to call it that, supposed to be provided today. She basically pled the fifth and said, "Let me out of jail or I'm not talking," which I don't think she has a snowball's chance in hell. I mean, she's been proven to be such a liar. So Samantha has how much time left to pay was the question, and Anna B's got here. Woohoo, girlfriend. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming, both of you. So how much time does she have left to pay? So they had a deadline of Thursday last week. What, today's the 9th. The deadline was Thursday last week. You know, she was kidnapped Sunday morning at 2 a.m. The ransom note was, I think, Monday evening, like late in the day. And then it gave 2 deadlines. One was Thursday and then one was today, which was bizarre. Like this is your deadline or else this is your deadline. Like 2 deadlines. And the authorities that have been providing their opinions publicly, I believe that not only do they believe that Nancy's no longer alive, but that they believe that that's what the Guthries think too. And that when they said in their second message to the kidnappers, so not the one that they just provided today, not the one that Savannah did by herself today, but the one that the 3 of them did a few days ago. I think was it yesterday? Was it Sunday? Where they said that we will pay and that they just want their mother back, that they need her in order to celebrate. And their words were very specifically chosen. Obviously, you're going to be very careful with your verbiage in a situation like that. And it, you know, you don't want to read too much into it, but what professionals and authorities were reading into that, the word choice of celebrating, I think they were not wanting to say it straight out, but basically that the family's just wanting her remains so that they can celebrate her life and put her to rest, put her remains to rest. I've been watching JLR. They're saying less than an hour. Thank you. Dang it, Nancy. I appreciate that. Yeah, so it's 5:45 here on the East Coast, and they're probably Pacific time, so 3 hours earlier, so 2:45. I don't know what the time limit was. I just know that there was the deadline on Thursday and then the deadline today. And I just thought, how freaking bizarre. So how are you, Anna Bees? What's up, my dear? So Anna Bees and I were texting. That was fun. And yeah, I was really tired. I only slept like 4 hours last night. Excuse me while I itch my nose. And so I did drink a cup of coffee before I came on so that I wouldn't be like snoozing while on. I used to always drink a cup of coffee right before I came on, no matter what time of the day it was, even if it was nighttime. Like I couldn't do a live without my coffee. And for the most part, I only drink coffee in the morning or at the top of the day, not so much in the afternoon. But since I didn't get much sleep last night, hopefully it won't give me trouble getting to sleep tonight. So, so many pages. I think the kidnapping is a hoax. That's what I want to call into the authorities in response to Nancy Guthrie's daughter's, Savannah's latest plea in the last couple of hours. That's what I want to call into the authorities and say, based on all the evidence that I've seen, I believe that this entire kidnapping is a hoax, all of it, from the ground up. So I guess it's not a kidnapping if it's a homicide and then trigger warning and then the stealing of the remains. So really like an invasion of the body snatchers, which what could be more disgusting than that? And if the effing president is behind anything remotely like that, and in my opinion, I'm sure that he is, and he's always accusing so many people of being criminals and rapists and red rummers and dangerous. And it's like he's projecting and confessing every freaking accusation. Ugh, disgusting. It's very disorganized. It's goofy. And yet it's extremely professional. So some of the evidence that I assess it to be of that nature is simply the fact that here we are 8 days in and there's not a solution. And then all of the weird statements that he's made, like, oh, I have a feeling that there's a lot going on behind the scenes and that in just a couple of hours we'll have a solution. A solution? What's a solution to a tragedy like that? I mean, unless she is alive, how could she be alive and then not turn people in unless they have rugged her and basically she has no memory of anything? I mean, horrific. They could have rugged her into a medical coma for this entire 8 days. Horrific. And if somebody is unconscious, the longer that they're unconscious for, like a medically induced coma, Anna Bees, you'd be able to speak more specifically to this. And aren't you a nurse too, dang it, Nancy? The longer that you're in a medically induced coma, the higher the likelihood that you might not make it out. Or that if you do make it out, you're going to have some brain damage. Ouch, man, it hurts my heart. I saw that law enforcement researched the sister's house again. Yes. I mean, in any situation like this, the immediate family members are going to be your main persons of interest, if for nothing else, just to gather information from. But it most often is, if not family, somebody that knows the person. Random acts of violence like this are so extraordinarily rare. So there's been speculation that maybe it was somebody who worked in her home, like somebody who tended to the home or the pool or the landscaping or her own like home health care. But that upsets me to be potentially pointing the finger at any of those people if it's not any of those people. And I don't think it is. I think it's too sophisticated. I think it's too freaking obvious, in my opinion, that they're not trying to solve it. And I got weird vibes from the sheriff the first few times he spoke publicly. And every time that he says, you know, we're not going to be doing any more press releases unless there's more information that we're not expecting. And it's like, of course, if you get more information that you're not expecting, you're going to do a presser, you know, or most likely anyway. Like, that's not something you need to say. So there's just been a lot of weird things that have been said. That's what a lot of people are saying. They're all doing polls, LOL. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm just afraid that, forgive me, trigger warning, I'm afraid that she's not been alive probably since Jump, and that the family will be lucky to get her remains. And I hope that they do. I think that her remains will be dumped. And again, trigger warning, sorry to say that. You know, maybe in a field like Suzanne Morphew. Remember, she was found in a field that's referred to as the Boneyard in Colorado. That, you know, Colorado is the state north of New Mexico. And then you got Arizona next to New Mexico. And then you got Utah north of Arizona. And of course, south of Arizona and New Mexico is Mexico. Tucson is not far from the border. What is it, Anna B? Is like 20 miles, maybe? I'm not even sure, but it's really close to the Mexico border. So that, what they call the Boneyard in Colorado, where Suzanne Morphew's remains were found, I think it was like 2 years after she went missing on Mother's Day of 2020. Authorities were searching there for someone else's remains when they found her remains. And I thought it was very bizarre that Barry Morphew may have dumped his wife's remains there. It's yet to be proven in a court of law. I don't know what's going on with that trial. I think it's coming up. Let me see. Let's see, the Suzanne Morphew trial. Suzanne Morphew trial. Suzanne Morphew. I'm not doing it. Suzanne Morphew trial. So a month ago, on January 12th, he pled not guilty. The trial's scheduled to start October 13th. Okay, good to know. And he was released from jail after posting a $3 million bond, which is so disgusting because that money is most likely hers and her family's. Oh, man. Remember that whole thing, how he had like $100,000 reward for her when he made that bizarre 26-second like hostage video? Oh, Suzanne, with the waterfall behind him. That $100,000 was a very specific amount of money because there was $100,000 that Barry and Suzanne had borrowed from her father, that her father wanted back. And Barry was really pissed off about it. And it was kind of like rubbing her dad's nose in it by saying that the reward for any information leading to her or an arrest would be that exact amount. That was like a huge effing slam. So sad. And again, another case of domestic violence. And yeah, if it is anybody in the family, and I don't think it is, I could be wrong, of course, then this could be considered domestic violence as well. But I just think it's often easy to scapegoat on a family member, like Russ Faria's wife, Betsy Faria, if I'm saying their names right. It was that Pamela Hupp case where she took a sharp-edged object and plunged it into her best friend who was fighting cancer and framed her best friend's husband. And if you haven't seen that miniseries that Renee Zellweger produced and starred in, it's phenomenal. It's a true story. So Pamela Hupp, did I say Huff? It's always confusing. Pam Hupp, disgusting individual. She completely framed this man who already loses his wife. He was already in a crisis, thinking he was losing his wife to cancer. And then he loses her to this horrific crime in his home. He's the one who finds her. He's the one who calls 911. And then he's completely framed. And part of that problem was that Pam Hupp was friends with the judge and with the attorneys, and she was playing her whole like white privilege card. And Russ Faria wasn't he wasn't as white, he wasn't as light skinned. I don't know if he was like Italian or what have you, but you know, it makes me think of Savannah's brother-in-law that's Italian. It's like, oh, you know, the person with the slightly dark skin, let's scapegoat them. It's just weird, but it's just insane. Personally, I don't think it had anything to do with any of the family. Again, I could be wrong, but that's been my like gut instinct this whole time. And it usually does have something to do with the family. It usually does. So of course, law enforcement is going to focus on them. And, you know, you would hope that any family member, as long as they're not getting it pinned on them, that they would be understanding of why they're a person of interest. And, you know, I know some people have tried to say that Savannah's husband would be a person of interest. And that's just so effing tragic to me, when it's like this probably has happened because of Savannah and her immense success and her bravery and her professionalism in interviewing the president 6 years ago and facilitating that conversation between Governor Cox and Shapiro 2 months ago. And then, you know, I'm very suspicious of that surgery and the hospitalization. It could be that that was something organic that was going on with her medically, but it also, the diagnosis that she had that was corrected by the surgery can be caused from poisoning. And yeah, I don't know. It's very weird that she was already out of missing work for 6 weeks, and then she's back for a few days, and then this happens. It's very, very odd. It's beyond odd. And again, in homicide, there's no such thing as coincidence. Zero. Absolutely zero. Okay. Yeah, no cadaver dogs. That's a huge giveaway. Sorry, I haven't looked at your comments in a little bit. Yes, it's true that there would be some brain damage. Yeah, you can't mess with that kind of thing. That's so tricky. No cadaver dogs was strange. Dang it, Nancy, thank you. That is precisely like on point, 100% on point. Like, it's kind of like, need we say more? Okay, so she wasn't unalived. Or if she was, they don't want anybody to know that. Because they could even have the trauma dogs. Why no dogs? Oh, man. The trauma dogs. Like, trauma dogs are what they had in the Watts case. Oh, sorry for the background noise. I kept asking the family to turn the TV down. The problem is we have the giant freaking television right on the other side of this wall. And it's distracting to me. Hopefully it's not distracting to you guys. You can let me know if it is, and I'll go yell at them or send them another text. No cadaver dogs was strange. They're saying hoax, like she wasn't really taken. But why would she? I mean, sure, she could have wandered off, but again, then why wouldn't you have scent dogs? Because even if she wandered off, their dogs are amazing. They can still pick up a scent, but you got to do that right away. Absolutely right away. And that wasn't done. It's way too late to do it now. Probably not too late for cadaver dogs, and maybe not even too late for trauma dogs, but definitely too late for just like a regular scent dog. And it seems kind of obvious that her scent would just go to like the driveway, kind of like Trinity Bacchus, right? And they tried to say that Trinity Bacchus walked off a couple of miles, but the scent dog stopped at the end of the driveway with her. Oh man, they would have to give her IV fluids to keep her unalived, or to keep her from unaliving. Yeah. Savannah and her husband are in the club that we're not invited to. Maybe it was time to pay up. If you know, you know. Exactly. Dang it, Nancy. It's about 1 hour from the border from Tucson. Thank you, Annabees. Wait, I walked out. Whose trial? Morphew. That was probably a few minutes ago. So yeah. Yes, I remember that he was arrested for his wife's red rum. He was arrested and then released, and then rearrested and then re-released. So yeah, the trial's coming up in October now. Yes, Italians were the last people of Europe to be considered white. Isn't that ridiculous? I mean, just the whole thing with racism is so ridiculous to me. It's disgusting. What's the name of the husband's band? I thought it had a where's significance. They were saying Annie was blinking 10 times sporadically in the first interview. You know, if your mom was missing, you'd probably be blinking sporadically too. And probably all of them are on like some kind of like Xanax or something for the anxiety. I wanted to share with you too. I mentioned how I'm allergic to bull crap and how my doctor had prescribed me antihistamine for my allergy to the corruption in the department that my husband worked in years ago. And what I forgot to tell you guys was that it gave me the hives. I had hives all over my body long term, like I don't even remember how long term. It was crazy. She needed to put me on a lot of different like antihistamines for that. But the allergy was real. The body reaction to stress is real. And I had only had hives once that I can remember in my lifetime, maybe twice. And the one time that I remember was when I was about 12, and it was literally just for a few hours, and I was very stressed. You know, I had a situation with my father where I was anorexic and I didn't want to eat, and he was literally forcing me to eat. And so I ate food against my will, and maybe that's why I don't like spaghetti so much anymore. I didn't eat very much of it, but I was bound and determined not to eat. And he made sure that I did. And it was very uncomfortable. And I broke out in hives. And, hives is a real emotional body response. And, probably if you're in a lawsuit or something like that and you're like going to trial, you might break out in hives. But I broke out in hives from this long-term intense corruption in this department that my husband was employed by. And what I learned from that whole experience is that a law enforcement department being corrupt is not out of the ordinary. That was the worst part of the whole thing, because I believed in law enforcement and I thought that it was out of the ordinary. I thought that it was unique. And learning that it wasn't, that other law enforcement departments were willing to investigate and say that everything was fine. Finally, there were outside investigators that were not law enforcement. There were lawyers from Chicago that investigated and said, no, everything's not fine. but the state law enforcement and even the freaking federal law enforcement. So yeah, I don't have a lot of trust with law enforcement, unfortunately, even though my husband is still law enforcement. It's tricky business. And most people don't trust law enforcement. And I did up until all that crap. And then, like I said, finding out that I'm allergic to bullshit. but who isn't? It's just a matter of degree and how your body responds to this stuff. So my point is that the Guthries are probably on medications for things like anxiety or maybe breaking out in hives. I mean, you're probably not going to be able to eat. You're not going to be able to sleep. You can try to eat. You're probably going to throw up. You can try to sleep. You're probably going to have nightmares. I mean, honestly, you guys, a couple of days ago, I think it was Saturday morning, I woke up kind of having nightmares about Savannah Guthrie's mother. These cases don't always affect me like that, but this one really hits home, probably because the situation with my mom for the 10 years before she passed away. Her health being so fragile with dialysis. So let me get caught up. I love your guys' comments. What's the name of the husband's band? What is the name of the husband's band? I'm not sure. I could look it up. But yeah, the thing about blinking. Anna B says, but I have noticed by being around people of the MAGA persuasion that Italians are still not really considered white. I agree. And also, Ivana, Ivana, the one who's buried at Bedminster, all of her other significant others after our dear leader, they were all Italian. The last one passed away just 9 months before she passed away. That was the one that was like 49 years old when he died. And the one that they had competed in a Italian Dancing with the Stars. But then there was like the first one after the divorce that she'd been with for like 5 or 7 years. And he was like in business with Ferrari. And he was an Italian prince. And he died in a single car accident back in Italy over Christmas visiting his family. And then there was a guy a few years older than her that she was married to briefly between those two other Italians that I just mentioned. And he's the one that she sued him for $20 million for breach of contract after the divorce. And then her first husband, the one that, they allegedly never consummated the relationship and they were just friends, and she married him to get citizenship to get out of Czechoslovakia, I think is where she was from. I'm pretty sure. Again, the whole thing with the Eastern Bloc, the European Eastern Bloc is something that I have yet to really be able to wrap my mind around. But a lot of these women come from such dire straits. And there's this television miniseries from Hulu that I am a huge fan of, that I used to talk about a lot early in my channel. And I haven't spoken of it for a while because it just hasn't come up, but it touches on this. And it's a mini series called Chance, and it stars Hugh Laurie, from the House, and from he was one of the bad guys in the Dalmatian movie and something else. Anyway, Hugh Laurie, he's great. He's a phenomenal actor. And so he produced this true crime, or not true crime, but murder mystery drama miniseries called Chance. And it all evolves around a homicide detective, so a corrupt police department in San Francisco. And Hugh Laurie plays a psychologist or psychiatrist. And then the wife of the homicide detective grew up in the Eastern European Bloc, and she spent her life being trafficked. And it's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. Okay, let's see. I was in the hospital in a coma for 4 months from septic poisoning. Septic, yeah. Learning how to walk again as an adult is no joke. I am so sorry, Nancy, and I'm so glad that you recovered from that. Because, yeah, that can definitely be fatal. That is wild. Not to change the subject. No, that's fine, my dear. But that Super Bowl pissed me off, and the Olympics opening was a worse ritual than last year. WTF. Worse in what way, my dear? I mean, I know it was all controversial because El Presidente has to make everything about him. The Olympics, he wants your attention. The Super Bowl, he wants it to be about him. Like he's just like a big crybaby. There's never enough attention for him. Dang it, Nancy, why would the Super Bowl piss you off? Are you a Patriots fan? Okay, back on subject. The fact that there's no suspicious vehicle passing by the Circle K, they're thinking it's a hoax. She's not gone, but why? Right, the Circle K, wasn't it a Circle K that allegedly saw the white Hyundai Elantra zipping by? If not a Circle K, it was something like a Circle K. But yeah, then there was some like talk of a white van. It's like, ooh, a white van, that means trafficking. But the whole thing with fertility, we really gotta like reel it in and focus on that, because with trafficking, with white vans, with Idaho 4, with what is in the Trumpstein files, it all gets back to trafficking and fertility clinics. And there was a lot of fertility research done at the University of Idaho. I've always wondered about that with Ethan being a triplet, and with the whole crime of the Idaho 4. How much of that had to do with, I mean, even early on, like right up front when it happened, they talked about that it was like a red stuff bath in the house, and that there were trigger warning entrails hanging from things, and that all of their reproductive articles were stolen. Remember that? Like, and again, with the white Hyundai, and it's like the white van is just like your prototypical like trafficking vehicle. But there's so much money in the trafficking of this type. So much. And it's a global enterprise, a multi-billion-dollar annual global enterprise. And who's involved? It's more like who's not involved. When I was in nursing school at clinicals, I found out that my mom was in the hospital. I broke out in hives then while at clinicals. Yeah, exactly. It's a very emotional response. So my guess is that all of Nancy's children probably were requiring some type of medication to calm down. I mean, it's such an unusual situation, and it's just so tragic. This happened where you live now. I'm not sure what you're referring to, dang it, Nancy, if you're talking to me or Annabise. The allergic to bullshit. I'm always allergic to bullshit, but I ran out of my, my doctor had put me on several medications to get those hives under control. It was really bad. And then I haven't needed to stay on them, but I stay on just one. And then I had ran out last weekend, and I was like having a lot of symptoms over the weekend. I had been trying to fill it, and there were problems with the doctor's office and with the pharmacy. And then I thought I was going to like need to do a COVID test or a flu test last weekend. But then when I finally got it filled on Monday, after making a ton more phone calls, because it was just like problem after problem after problem. And then the request, the authorization, it all finally happened. And then I get a text from Costco that should have said, your prescription's been filled. And it said, we're out of that medication. We'll have it for you tomorrow. And I was like, no, I can't wait till tomorrow. So I had to call and have them get the medication to a different location where I could get it ASAP. And then as soon as I started taking it, the symptoms that I had went away. And it was just like really bad allergies. It was like I was taking Sudafed and it wasn't doing the trick. And usually Sudafed will do the trick. Where does who live? Me? No, I don't live in Arizona, but I grew up there. No, Jazz's husband, was she going through those allergic bullshit? Yeah, it was here in Ohio. Bad Bunny, it was horrible. Trump said it was the worst Super Bowl half in history. The Olympics is a red ball of fire with devils all around it in red. Wow. I miss that. I mean, there was that weird FIFA Peace Prize that looked very Titanic with an S and not a T, with all the hands like looking like they're clawing up towards what I guess was like the world. And it's supposed to look like hands holding up the world, but it looked so creepy. So yeah, I didn't catch that. I watched a little bit of the Olympics, but I'm not sure what you're talking about with the red ball. Should I Google it? But yeah, Donnie Trumpsterfire was just upset that he tried to start his own football league. He tried to call it, like, instead of the NFL, like the Trump Football League. It didn't work out. He's never been athletic, but he wishes that he won all these awards that he keeps stealing from all the people that win them, like literally. I mean, he's just nuts with this crap. He's obsessed with awards and obsessed with attention. He's an attention whore. And then he goes and watches Bad Bunny instead of the thing that he set up with his buddy Kid Rock. And why didn't he have the Village people there? Did they turn him down? I mean, what was I looking up? The red ball of fire. Yikes. Olympics. Red ball of fire. Am I going to find anything, Nancy? Red ball of fire. let's see what the Google says. The Olympic flame is a symbol used in the Olympic movement. It is also a symbol of continuity between the ancient and the modern games. But when I want for yesterday, right? Oh, the protesters were shooting flares in Italy yesterday. Olympics violence. Milan on edge. Protesters fire smoke bombs. See, I missed all of that. I had no idea. Did the archer really light the Olympic flame? I think that's more like in general. Italian. This was 2 days ago. Italian police tear gas as protesters clash near Winter Olympics hockey. And then they had cauldrons opening. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, violence grips the Olympics. I see. I missed that. Thank you, my dear. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. So the Super Bowl, I just got to say that I thought it was like the best Super Bowl halftime I'd ever seen. I was disgusted by Beyonce's. I know a lot of people were disgusted by Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson and their wardrobe malfunction that they think was not by accident. That was a long time ago, but nobody will ever forget it. But man, I was so impressed. Like, I just got to say, my own personal opinion was like, as soon as I saw so many people dressed up like grass, I just was like tickled pink. I just thought that was the cutest thing in the world. Everybody's dressed up like grass. And just the whole theme of it, I thought was phenomenal, and especially on point with what's going on in our political climate right now. But more than anything, I mean, Bad Bunny is hotter than hot, and his physique is freaking phenomenal. I was blown away by the man's balance. Like when he was standing, I think just like on a vehicle. And I was like, damn, is he like harnessed up? Like everybody else was harnessed up and he was not. And then he was like climbing something and he was like on this really high up, whatever you call it, platform. And he didn't look scared, but I was scared for him. But he was like very, very confident in his balance. He was being careful. He was holding on, but I just thought it was wild. And I mean, that's some serious athletic prowess. Balance is extraordinarily important. And look who has zero balance. Like he can't even walk in a straight line and he can't even stand up. Can't even like go from sitting to standing on screen or from standing to sitting on screen. Like you only see him standing or you see him sitting. You rarely see him doing the transition because I'm sure he needs help. I'm sure he needs help. Why traffic in 84-year-old, her organs aren't worth anything? Oh, I know. I just hope she's not been assaulted or harmed. I mean, of course, the psychological trauma of being held hostage for 8 days would be enough to end many 84-year-olds' lives. Like they would never recover from that. Many would never recover from something like that. I really liked the Super Bowl halftime show, and I loved the guest appearances, especially Ricky Martin and what's her name? Lady Gaga. Yeah, I didn't see the red ball. I could see Trump going and buying his own trophies and medals. He doesn't buy his own. He literally takes the winners. He literally takes them. He either asks for them, like he has some Olympic medals that he has gotten from the people that have won them. And he's gotten like the World Cup. I'm not sure how many other trophies and medals he's accumulated, but I mean, obviously he has that freaking Nobel Peace Prize that is like ridiculous. Ridiculous. Oh, little T tried to buy an NFL team first, but the NFL said no. That's when he bought the other non-NFL team. Well, just like when he did his beauty pageants, that wasn't Miss America. That was Miss USA. That was his own thing. And it was all affiliated with the Daddy Vladdy country. I mean, again, the Eastern Bloc of women and the pipeline for the trafficking. I mean, transporting. Oh, the husband's debut album was called Life, Love, Love, Red Rum. Ew, yikes. That's weird. Then it must be him. No, I'm just kidding. That's just a bizarre, like the Life, Love. I thought, okay, that's nice and alive and full of love. Love, Red Rum. I don't know. I mean, love true crime, but not Red Rum. I liked Janet and Justin halftime show. Well, see, I've never been a Janet Jackson fan, and I wasn't a Justin fan back then. It took a long time for me to become a Justin fan. I was very upset with him for what he did to Britney. That's just me. Bad Bunny is very hot. He is athletic. Man, and he looked so huge with the football shoulder pads, and I'm sure he probably had on more than one bulletproof vest with all of this crazy publicity. He had to wear a bulletproof vest to the Grammys. Bad Bunny is very, very hot. I agree, Annabelle, as well. Jazz, I can't walk straight. LOL. I need knee surgery so bad. Oh, my dear, I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, balance is a very important part of our health, as we all know. And that's one of the reasons I like to do yoga, is to work on that. But I have heard from older folks that have done like, that they've gotten specific physical therapy treatment for balance issues. I've heard that it's really good to eat healthy fats like avocado and olive oil, that those healthy fats help ground you and help your balance. Have you heard that, Anna Bees? I'm interested if you've heard that. So there's rumors that you guys have probably heard that little E is walking around the country that begins with the letter I right now. And there's photographs of somebody who looks like it could be him. And it hasn't been completely verified. Lev Remembers was talking about it in one of his videos. And he's having photographs that were sent to him, directly sent to him. He's having them vetted. And so if he finds anything out, he will release that information. But I can't underscore how valuable Lev Parnas and his son Aaron Parnas and the content that they're putting out on a daily basis right now. It is like, in my opinion, it is hardcore central to moving forward with justice right now in regards to the Trumpstein files. No, I haven't heard that. JLR's chat saying Erica Kirk did it. 25 minutes left. Well, I believe that 100%, Nancy. I'm not even freaking kidding. She absolutely was behind it. And I was wondering, I just wrote this down in the last 24 hours, so it's in my notes. I was going to share it with you guys if I I hardly had a chance to look at my notes because you guys have been very chatty and I love it. And now I'm caught up. So thank you for that. That she was not there at the campus. It was at Utah Valley University, something like that. She was not present with the kids, which a lot of times she was. So there's rumors that her and Charlie had been at odds. There's rumors that Charlie had just like written her out of his will in the last 48 hours before he was assassinated, allegedly. I mean, I'm not even so sure that I believe he was assassinated. I mean, I do. Just same thing with little E. I'm not sure that he was. This might be him walking around in the town, the country that starts with the letter I, surrounded by bodyguards. But that could just be a hoax, or it could be somebody else, or whatever. It's the same thing with Charlie Kirk. Like I've always wondered, but with both of them, I do think that they were assassinated, both Charlie and little E. But the situation with Charlie is that he'd been pushing for the releasing the files. And then his good friend Donnie, who had not only called him, but also called that guy that we were talking about yesterday, that content creator, Benny Johnson. Trumpster Fire called them both directly and said, lay off Ixnay on the Epstein files, A. I got this, trust me. And they both said, yes, sir. And they both retracted and backpedaled and said, I'm not pushing on that anymore. I got a call from dear leader. He said not to, and I'm trusting him. And then the birthday letter was released. And then Charlie in particular was all over, like immediately when that birthday letter was released. It was like a Monday night, and by Tuesday night he was back on, like, release the freaking Trumpstein files. And then I believe Erica is all over those Trumpstein files. I believe she was a jizz. And yeah, so the theory is that maybe he didn't know that she was in those files and she couldn't have him find out. And then there was like the person, Bill Ackerman, who allegedly offered Charlie like $150 million to do whatever BB wanted him to do, to be at BB's disposal, and had him come to a lunch in the Hamptons maybe a couple weeks before the assassination. And he said, no, thank you. And then he told people that he felt endangered because of that. And Bill Ackerman, I don't know if he like owns CBS or something like that. I can't remember. I'm just all going off the top of my head. I think that's pretty accurate. But the thing was that story number one, when Charlie was injured or fatally wounded, story number one was that the wife and kids were there. And then the story was, she was visiting her mom in the hospital when she found out. And so that would explain why she wasn't there. But really, or is it more like a Courtney Love and Kurt Cobain kind of thing, where if they were going to be getting a divorce, if it was Splitsville, then financially things would have been very different. But with being a widow, she got everything. I don't know, including the CEO of Turning Point USA. And man, she's been driving that thing straight into the ground. Right. Where are we? But I wouldn't doubt it. Diet is important to everything in your body. Yeah. And not eating fast food. I mean, I don't think autism comes from Tylenol. I think autism comes from fast food and television and now social media, right? I saw the pic of supposed Lil E. It didn't look like him to me. Yeah, to me it does look like him, but also I see your point. Like, I think that it can go both ways, and for all we know, it's completely AI, for all we know. And so I'm very curious what Lev Parnas finds out, because I trust him. I think he's on it. Candace Owens definitely believes that there was something fishy about Charlie's thing. Yeah, and I don't trust Candace either, although a lot of what she says about the whole Charlie thing, I think is it's very consistent with what I think and believe about it. But I think she's some kind of industry plant as well. I mean, I don't know. I think she's confused. I mean, she's a Black woman that's all about MAGA. Like, you know how much I love that content creator Reese Waters, who's Black, and he's married to a white woman. His wife produces documentaries, actually. I just found that out recently. But Reese Waters talks about Black MAGA a lot, and he is just spot on. He's so funny and he's so sharp. He has this one like reoccurring theme that he does weekly. It's a show that's called Let 'Em Fight. It's just so funny. So funny. Let me see what else I have in my notes, you guys. And thanks again for being here. I love you guys. So they said yesterday that due to licensing restrictions, the TPUSA halftime show couldn't be streamed on X. And I just thought that was really weird. Like, doesn't Elon own X? Like, couldn't he just like give it the green light? But they completely fudged their numbers. They tried to say that there was like 5 million people watching it live, but the live chat was about the speed of my live chat when I have 3 people in here. Billy, hello, my dear. How are you? So if you guys have seen this, the live chat when they allegedly had 5 million people watching was about the same speed. And with 5 million people watching it live, allegedly, they only had like in the tens of thousands of the likes. And then even after the live, normally your views would like instantly double. They didn't. And then, you know, your likes would double and your comment section would be crazy with that many views. Like, not just the live chat, but the comment section after the live stream. And there was none of that. So they probably beefed up the live stream numbers with their Russian bots, and then they just didn't know enough how to like make it look real, which I think is funny. And like, even the Trumpster fire himself didn't watch it. I mean, he watched Bad Bunny, and I think he is in love with Bad Bunny, and that's why he's freaking out, is because he just wants Bad Bunny's attention. He's like the little kid in grade school pulling the girl's pigtails, right? That's what he's doing to Bad Bunny. Let's see. Annabelle says, I think she is really honest about what she feels about Charlie. I don't like her. She's a grifter. Yeah, she was in love with Charlie, I think. She wanted to marry him, but she's not white, and he was a racist. So it's amazing that they were even friends. But racists do have friends that aren't white often, and then they try to use that as proof that they're not racist. Ah. So, my dear Billy, how are you, honey? They show the picture of her supposedly with these kids that aren't even the same color hair or same age. So I'm sure he wasn't happy about playing any kind of role. Yeah, I don't believe that those are necessarily their kids, the little boy and the little girl. Again, you know, all of this eugenics, and I don't think she was necessarily pregnant. There's no pictures of her anywhere pregnant. She's the kind of person that would have pictures of herself everywhere pregnant. I mean, most people do. Most people are very excited about their pregnancy and put their pregnant belly photos on social media. And then, people who adopt or have surrogates are usually honest about it because there's nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing. Adopting is great. Surrogates it's an amazing thing. But lying about pregnancy is crazy. That's just plain knuck and futz, right? Oh, and she said right before he passed away, he trusted her to take over TPUSA. Yeah, right. I know. And then she was like, she had the merch shirts made about him passing away, like probably same day. Oh my God, you guys, we haven't even talked about the government official document from the prison where little E passed away that is dated August 9th. It says that he was found deceased in his cell Friday, August 9th, when he was found deceased in his cell Saturday, August 10th. You guys have heard about that, right? It's like all over the interwebs the last 24 hours. Like, not a typo. Maybe planned, and then it got pushed back a day. I don't know. And then the guy who was the roommate of little E, that really bad cop. He has an Italian name. He was convicted of red rumming 4 people horrifically. Let's see, Epstein cellmate. It starts with a T. Cellmate ex-cop. Tartaglone, Nicholas Tartaglone. He was sentenced in June of 2024 to 4 consecutive life sentences for the 2016 kidnappings and unalivings of 4 people. Martin Luna, Miguel Luna. This is a CNN article. Urbano Santiago and Hector Gutierrez. Taglioni, former police officer turned rug dealer, convicted in April 2023 of 11 counts of red rum, 4 counts of kidnapping resulting in unaliving, 1 count of kidnappings conspiracy, and 1 count of narcotics conspiracy. Tartaglione, I think is how you say it. Tartaglione. Tartaglione shared a cell with little E at the Federal Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York City and had been moved before little E's self-injury in August of 2019. But it doesn't say he was moved like the day before, and that little E never wanted to be alone in his cell because he thought that the Trumpstein fire was after him, and that his attorneys were adamant that he always have a roommate in there. I don't know. It's a bunch of cray-cray. Let's see. Benito, so good looking on stage. OMG. And Benicio del Toro, remember him? There's another hot Latin guy. Oh, yes, the live stream chat was just still like it was frozen. Yeah, Candace, totally thirsty for CK. They would have been a cute couple, way cuter than him and Erica. I mean, they were just kind of like a Barbie and Ken doll, in my opinion. But her being a beauty queen and him looking like a, I don't know, shrunken applehead. Not to be mean, I know I'm so superficial, but they seemed like an odd pair. They seemed like a contrived pair, and her being 31 when they got married, She was 37 when he passed away. I think they'd been together for about 5 years. So maybe she was like 32, somewhere in there. Which is really old for like a trad wife, right? Like that's like an old maid. Michael McAllister, hello, hello. How are you? Wasn't he gorgeous, Billy? He made me thirsty, LOL. He was mighty fine. And I just love the giant shoulders, the giantness of him in the football stuff under his shirts, and then his giant big t-shirt over the other shirt. And I'm sure he made Donnie Toodles very thirsty. Fake persona, fake businesses, fake parents, fake nonprofits, fake kids. What? Billy, you're so judgmental. I'm just kidding. Let's see. Where were we? Bad Bunny was very sexy, very handsome man. I watched the singers after. It was pretty good, except Kid Rock. His song is something about pedophilia, so I didn't watch him. Yeah, skeezy mofo. And just ludicrous that they would do that with the timing of all this. But of course, they double down. They'll never admit anything. Yes, I heard about the press release being 24 hours early for Little E's unaliving. Now, how would that happen? I don't know. Love how they recreated his home where he grew up. Well, and the whole thing, like I couldn't help but think of Puerto Rico and the hurricane that went through there, destroying it and unaliving so many Puerto Ricans. And all the weird stuff that our president said when he was like throwing paper towels at them. And he was like, it was the wettest hurricane ever in terms of water. And Puerto Rico, it's an island, big ocean. Like, what? Makes sense. Make it make sense. Did anyone else get a chance to see the deceased babies next to the turkeys, the Epstein Files show? OMG, Michael McAllister, I've not seen this one. OMG. But there's a lot of that. So there's this is something Aaron Parnas found that I just heard on an Aaron Parnas video today that he found in the Trumpstein Files. I'm sure we'll be hearing more and more about it. A retired law enforcement officer somebody who had worked at Zora Ranch, who went to law enforcement after not being employed there anymore and reported that he believed that they had an incinerator and that they were burning corpses, and it was never investigated. And that's what I'm talking about. I think they were doing all kinds of NAZI, Frankenstein medical experiments and the transporting. And there's stories in the Trumpstein Files of people getting unalived accidentally during rough SCX, especially the asphyxia type. And then, they would destroy the evidence. And then with babies, they were impregnating teenagers, forcing them to carry the children, and then taking the babies. And who knows if they were selling them, using them in their rituals, both the RAs, just like the thing that Erica had back in Romania. RA, not Romanian angels, but it's ritualistic abuse. That's what RA is. I mean, that's like common lingo for Titanic type of talk. I think they were pissed off about the Super Bowl because it was all American game and nobody could understand any of the songs. Well, somebody made a really good point. Like they can't. There was a black guy who said, I don't even understand a lot of the words in my favorite rap songs. And it's true. Like if you try to sing any of your favorite white people songs, we usually don't know the words. We think it's something that it's not, but it's all about the vibe and it's all about the beat. So, I mean, I just think that that's a cop out. I mean, yeah, so it's different. So that's bad. OMG, Benicio. Yes, Billy, the stage was so good. I loved it all. By the way, I'm bilingual, but I can't understand what he was singing. And yeah, I used to be bilingual with Spanish, but yeah. I mean, there were a few words in English, and like, the love wins over hate. The only thing that can beat hate is love. Isn't that what they said on the big Chiron afterwards? But I didn't care. It was just great music to listen to. It really was. And then, they were talking about how, his dancing is so perverted. Well, they said the same thing about Elvis, remember? It's like, yeah, people get, the whole like twerking thing with dancing. I mean, that's just a thing. That's just the kids these days. Us old fogies just got to get used to it, right? We grew up with Benny the Bull in movies. Hot. I never needed to understand lyrics to like music. Charlie specifically talked about how dad Nicki Minaj is. Then Erica goes and has her on stage. How bad Nicki Minaj is, and then right. Well, and she's very Titanic. She's twisted, and then she's like married to an SO, and her brother's an SO. I mean, convicted. I think both of them, like both her brother and her husband, are ex-cons or current cons. I think one of them is current. But yeah, I mean, she was sucking up to Bigly Piggly too to try to get pardons for them, no doubt. Yeah. If he really passed, then he's going to haunt Erica big time. Big time. Benicio del Toro, he's hot too. He's hotter than hot. I'm doing okay, Michael says. Let's see. Where are we? I was dancing while he sang. Erica the fake. I'm a little bit under the weather right now. I'm sorry to hear that, Michael. That sucks, but I'm doing good, Jazz and everyone. Yeah, take good care of yourself. Keep fluids and veggies, right? And protein. Billy, I don't ever listen to lyrics. Very often I hear a song I've been jamming out to for years, and then I finally understand a lyric and just laugh. I know. Like sometimes our favorite songs, we don't realize what they're about. Like Cornflake Girl, by Tori Amos. That song is about being a victim of incest, an incest survivor. That's a great song. There's a lot of songs like that, and they become number one hits. People don't even realize what they're actually about. Charlie was racist, misogynist. Yeah. And because you said that, you're going to get fired. No, I'm just kidding. It's my belief that the discouraging of talking about his assassination and him is another red flag that the people that were behind it were like BB and Vladdy and JD and EK and DJT. They didn't want anybody talking about it because, and it was just so fake. I mean, the whole thing with his fake assassination attempt and the situation with with Charlie. You know, both of these young men were like in their 20s. Maybe the one in Pennsylvania, maybe he was 20. I forget. Cook, wasn't that his last name? Thomas Cook. And then, you know, both of these young men are like laying on their bellies with their rifles. And then they both were like around the same time of day, I believe. They were both like within like the first 15 minutes of the presentation. They both were on roofs. Then there's like one of the security detail guys, one of the main security detail guys is over Charlie's left shoulder, if you're facing Charlie, the guy with the brown hair. And he's also the guy that's over Biggly Piggly's left shoulder in the fight with the ketchup on his face. Same guy, in my opinion. In my humble conspiracy theory opinion, allegedly. But yeah, I mean, Charlie tried to inspire a lot of racist misogyny and horrible stuff. A lot of political violence. I heard a clip from something a couple of years ago. She was on someone's YouTube channel talking about how all Democrats should be put to the guillotine simply for being Democrats, and that not only should they be publicly put to the guillotine, but that children should watch. Specifically, he said this, that children should be forced to watch in person. It's like, why the F would you ever say something so disgusting? You're trying to, scare the crap out of kids so they never step out of line politically? Like, so they just like march right into your Handmaid's Tale nightmare? Like, give me an effing break. The only thing I'd like about Charlie Kirk was that he thought that the women should stay home and not go out in public. And when you think about his wife, he's right on the money. Right on the money. I didn't come up with that on my own. That was somebody else. That was like a post. It said, you know, I always thought Charlie was a jerk for saying that. And then we saw his wife and we understood where he was coming from. Too funny. Michael, I hope you get better soon. Yes, I know, right? I hummed loads of R&B and knew not one word, LOL. The Super Bowl halftime show was talking about something that upset a lot of people because he was singing in Spanish and LOL cool. I know. I mean, again, all they're doing is fanning the flames of his fame and fortune. Like, they're just helping the controversy. There's no such thing as bad publicity, right? So for that, he can thank them. And I think that the Biggly Piggly is in love with him. And that's where it's all coming from. He's just so frustrated that he can't have him and hold him and protect him and take care of him, whether he likes it or not, whether he wants it or not. Donnie just wants to covet his object of his affection, the most beautiful man. He likes him tall, dark, and handsome, like Mandami and MBS and BB and Vladdy, although Vladdy's not any of those things. But I think that there's a lot of man crushes going on there from Biggly Piggly, in my opinion. A lot of man crushes. Puerto Rico and Guam are part of the USA. Yes. And I know I keep joking they're going to deport Bad Bunny back to America. Deport Bad Bunny back to America. Michael, that picture was photoshopped. The original photo had alcohol drinks on the tables and bottle. The Super Bowl halftime show. Which photo are you talking about? I don't know. Let me see. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, the deceased little ones next to the turkeys. Is that what you're talking about, my dear? Let's see. Yeah, I have not seen that. But I mean, there's so much crazy stuff in there. And then a lot of it was validated, in my opinion, in my mind, by Virginia Giuffre's book. So they tried to get her to be an incubator for a baby that was going to be Jeffrey and Jizz's. They were going to take Jizz's egg, and they were trying to talk Virginia into being a surrogate. That's when she got away. That's when she escaped. That's when she decided she needed an escape plan. And she said, yeah, I'll do that for you. Just first send me to massage therapy school like you always promised you would. And then after the massage therapy school, I'll do that. And then they sent her to Thailand, which she wasn't expecting. She thought she was going to go somewhere local. And then, when she got to Thailand, she met her future husband. And I still don't believe that he was a domestic violence perpetrator. I think the whole thing with her is like sketchy AF. I think that she was another victim like Mary Richardson Kennedy, and like Ivana, and like Harold Borenstein, the doctor that said that he didn't write that letter that Biggly Piggly was the greatest, finest specimen of any human or president possible in the history of all humanity. He said that Donnie dictated that letter to him. And then he was deceased 2 days after the insurrection. So January 8th of 2021, Harold Bornstein, you can look it up. His father had been Donnie Tudall's doctor. His father had been Fred Trumpster Fire's doctor. And then Harold had been the doctor since his dad retired for like 18 years. And the Biggly Piggly had his medical practice raided for his medical records, just like how they raided the Georgia election records recently, where they just like bust in and demand all these records. And then they say it's not a raid. It's like, you mean the raid? The raid isn't a raid? Is that what you're saying isn't a raid? Let's see. I know you all know this, but those fools don't seem to know geography of history or common sense. I didn't know Billy's song lyrics and loved her music first time I heard it. WTF. Yeah. Dang it, Nancy. What is wrong with you, Nancy? What did she say? Something bad about Bad Bunny? No. Dang it, Nancy. Do you want to redeem yourself? What's going on? What's up? Anna B's, that is so messed up. Whoever did that must be AI pictures. Yeah, they do all kinds of crazy stuff. So we all have to be careful. There's a lot of weird AI videos coming out. One of my friends showed me an AI video that she didn't know it was AI. I didn't know it either at first. It was Michael Wolff, but it was like this weird German channel. And I finally realized it was AI because in the video he's wearing blue jeans, and I don't think Michael Wolff wears blue jeans. He wears cords. So but there were other signs too, like Michael Wolff would post his own videos, and this video was on this odd German channel where all the other videos were not only in German but in other languages too. The only videos that were in English were the Michael Wolff videos. So I was like, there's so many of the really large content creators that are getting kind of identity thefted with AI YouTube channels. So we all need to be aware of that. Some of the things that you can look for to tell if something is AI is that the voice is very flat. There's not like the inflections. And then another thing is that looking straight on, like they don't turn their head. They've gotten good about having them blink and having like the Adam's apple, having them like swallow and stuff like that. But it's the straight on, like when it's straight on and the voice is very robotic, like a Melania bot, then um I'm wearing long pants being female. Oh no, what are you saying, Nancy? Same here, Nancy. Michael McAllister says, boycott whom for what? I'm so curious. Yeah, I'm curious what's going on here, my lovelies. Boycott them for taking your rights for F's sake. Sorry, I'm back. Who is wearing the flag as a shirt? People do that all the time. A guy I know who is very nicely built wears flag shorts when he runs. Lord have mercy. LOL. He's a Marine vet. I'm wearing my American flag hat very proudly. I think Bad Bunny made me proud to be American again. I mean, seriously. And if that offends anybody, sorry, not sorry, really. I mean, America is a melting pot. That's what we're all about. I'm so done. Billy says, I don't know and I don't care. First Amendment. Billy, don't leave. I don't see another day, another block. I don't care. Another day, another block. I'm so done with racists and misogynists. You're going to make me sad. Girl, what is going on? What have I missed? This was like 5 minutes ago. Michael McAllister says, oh, please be nice to each other, everyone. Please, life is too short for us to be upset at each other. And if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And God bless everyone. Amen. I think it's okay to have disagreements, that it's important to agree to disagree and to work through things. I know I jumped down Granny Annie's throat when she came in and tried to throw Savannah Guthrie and her husband under the bus over Nancy. And, all of this political violence is crazy and it does need to stop, and there shouldn't be any of it. And it doesn't matter, in my opinion, if somebody's a Democrat or a Republican. What matters is like being a decent person and allowing people to have their own opinion. It's very important. We all know that. I mean, it's so childish. Like, oh, take the Democrats to the guillotine in the town square, have it televised, and make the 12-year-olds watch it in person. 12 years old and up, I think was what Charlie Kirk had said. This was just like 2 or 3 years ago. It wasn't very long ago at all. It was insane. I'll see if I can find a clip and put a link to it in the description just to prove that I'm not making it up. But you can probably Google it. I won't waste our time Googling it right now. I'll try to wrap up since we're getting close to 2 hours. Let's see. Anna B says, Michael, you're so sweet. Yes, I always try to be honest with everyone. How do I block someone? Ugh, just on my side. Is Nancy attacking you, Billy, or what's going on here? I mean, you're a mod, Billy, so I trust you to do what you're doing. Yeah. Yes, I always try to be honest and happy with everyone. Anna Bees. I just saw a picture of the back of Annie's backyard with all the wet and very suspicious wet sand in the desert. Drones are going up. Well, and it's the deadline, so they got to have something, right? No, I don't think Annie and her school teacher husband did anything. It just doesn't make sense. I just saw a picture of, okay, yeah, I just read that one. Billy, always on your side. It's going to be okay, Billy, darling. Hopefully I took the comments wrong, but with zero response from Nancy, I had to take her words as typed. What did I do? I just got back. I'm sorry. I'll be good. Didn't mean to hurt anyone's feelings or offend anybody. You guys, I sometimes get, putting a timeout in a chat. I mean, I get passionate about things, and yeah, it's hard sometimes to be careful about how you say things. So I think it's fine. It's like if you If somebody thinks you're out of line and you can pull it together, then that's fine. I use voice text, so sorry. Oh, my dear. Um, and yeah, I think it's important for all of us to be able to have different opinions. But it does upset me when people are trying to say that this poor family that is being victimized, that they did it, like the re-victimizing. And if they did, then they did, and we'll find out. But if they did, I think we would have found out already. And it would be easy to frame them too. So we got to be ready for that, because that's what I'm kind of expecting. But so, yeah, why was Erica not at the Utah event where Charlie was shot? Did she usually go with him? Was he ready to divorce her? Was it like a Courtney Love, Kurt Cobain kind of thing? So I told you yesterday that I found some weird stuff about Harry Levine. I just want to touch on that real quick because I brushed over it. Harry Levine, I think he was born and raised in LA. I think, he's the guy who started TMZ. He's gay. I did not know that. He's gay. But he was like a major Trump supporter in the first election, 2016. And then when Trump was saying all the homophobic, transphobic stuff, they had a falling out. So I just wanted to mention that. I thought that was really interesting to find that. And then Tom Ford with the 20,000 acre ranch, I think, right next to Little E's Zorro Ranch of like 7,500 acres. So a much bigger plot of land. But allegedly, it was all kinds of baby farming going on there and tunnels underneath. And again, to reiterate from yesterday, the ranches even share a border. And the ranches are not that far from where Helena Hutchins passed away from mouse murder. I mean, movie star, bad gun problems. Yeah. Then the mouse murder was north of Santa Fe with Gene Hackman, who had been on Nixon's blacklist in the 70s. He was like number one on Nixon's blacklist. Because of that, he remained at the top of Republicans' blacklist, and he had specific interactions and dealings with the Trumpster fire in the 80s. They interacted at some parties or something in New York. They weren't getting along. So the whole thing with his wife getting murdered by the mouse and then him indirectly getting murdered by the mouse, I've always thought it was extremely suspicious, because he's part of this rich elite movie star thing. He might have known about the Ford and Zorro Ranch baby farms. When I first saw this thing about baby farms, it was like 6 months ago, and I just saw an article online, and I was like, what the hell? This is ridiculous. A lot of times I see stuff online, and I'm like, can people just stop being such crazy conspiracy theorists? And then I read the article, and it was talking about an actual court case in California where I think that they had all Korean women or something like that. But there's been several cases like that where it's been like all Russian women, all Asian women. And there's been busts of baby farming. It's gross. It's insane. And like I've said many times, Little E told people that's why he bought Zorro Ranch, was to be, let's just call it a bunny farm. It's not as bad sounding. Baby bunny farm. So gross. Okay. Let's see. Sidetracked on here today. LOL, everyone. Be happy. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm just reporting what JLR is saying. Okay, dang it, Nancy. I get it. Yeah. And JLR, I don't trust him. He did a 9-hour live yesterday, and he called it Nancy Guthrie's home. He was trying to hook people with that. Nancy Guthrie's home. What he meant was Nancy Guthrie's house, but he was definitely trying to hook people. He had almost 1 million views after almost 9 hours of a live stream. That's freaking ridiculous. That man needs to get a life and take care of himself. Like, yeah, it's great that he's doing boots on the ground, but he still needs to have some balance in his life, and he needs to take care of himself, and he needs to not falsely advertise like that. And he's always very MAGA, in my opinion. And, you know, if he's trying to be a reporter, he should be more middle of the road. And who knows, maybe he's a paid operative. There's a lot of them on YouTube, you guys. If you'll say good things about ICE, you can get 6 figures. And it's always been that way with the MAGA hats. You know, like Benny Johnson and Tim Pool. And, ugh, gross. Bad Bunny is not in the files. Justice for Kylie. Thanks, Billy Darling. We always want to say that. I think that many people have some problem with Bad Bunny because Spanish is his first language and his songs are Spanish, but he is an international star. So way more people love him, and I'm one of them. Even like think of La Bamba, Richie Valens back in the 60s. La Bamba was a great song, #1 hit. Billy, darling, are you doing good today? I'm really sorry if you're having a tough day today, and I really hope that that gets better soon. Oh, I'm fine. Thanks. Oh, I meant they're military and vets trying to boycott Kid Rock, not me. Who am I? I'm nobody. Well, Kid Rock should be boycotted. I mean, he should be arrested if he's confessing to statutory in his songs. Like, I mean, and if it's not a confession, if it's just art, he should just shut the F up, right? Like, screw that, man. That's disgusting. Y'all have a good evening. Peace, love, and blessings. Thanks for hanging out, Nancy. I appreciate you. And I'm sorry things got tough with you and Billy. I hope everything smooths out. You are very welcome, Billy, darling. And also about Bad Bunny wearing a dress. It's like, who cares? Did he wear a dress? I missed that part. Like, I know sometimes he wears dresses, but I don't think he wore one yesterday, did he? Yes, WTF cares. He is gorgeous. I mean, Kurt Cobain used to wear a dress sometimes when he performed, didn't he? It's just kind of an artist thing to gender bender, I think. And, you know, and to make fun of, like, I've always thought that men that can embrace their femininity, that's like a true sign of a man who's confident in his masculinity, that he's not threatened by that. Like, he can wear pink and he's still a dude. It's okay. Yes, right. Richie Valens and Freddie Fender. I do support his right. Well, and think about Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz. Desi Arnaz was Cuban and hotter than hot, baby. I do support his right to the First Amendment, but I don't like him. I'm not sure who. Oh, that guy. Yeah, Kid Rock. Gross. I mean, I liked the Cowboy Baby song, but other than that, he can bite me. And Ricky Martin, he looked fine last night. Yeah, the La Bamba guy. Was that Ricky? No. La Bamba was the other guy that I just talked about, Richie Valens. Ricky Martin was hot. Then there was another one. I can't remember. There was another one around the same time as Ricky Martin. David Bowie, very gender bendery. No, Bad Bunny didn't wear a dress last night. Why? She said he wore a dress and it was pink with a heart face. Maybe in a different performance, and there was confusion that it was from last night. I don't know. I got mad. LOL. Well, you're protecting your chat, and that's what the mods are here for. So. You know, and if you're being overprotective, then we'll apologize. But yeah, that's what mods are for, is to protect the chat from going cray. So thank you. So, what we got? I think Tom Ford's ranch was called Todeo Ando Ranch, but I wanted to make mention of something near the ranch called Comtel Communications, and I only know that because it came up on the map when I was Googling Tom Ford's ranch and Zorro Ranch and Bonanza Ranch and Gene Hackman's house. Comtel Communications is right by Tom Ford and Zorro Ranch. And I thought, what's Comtel Communication? Could that be a good, kind of almost like a signal chat type of thing where you can communicate and you can pay this company Comtel to keep it all on the DL? Because it made me think of one of these plane crash victim families, the Robert Stark family in Boca Raton that crashed about a year ago. And there was the daughter, Brooke, who was 17, the father, who was like 54. I think that was Robert Stark. And then the granddad, who might have been Robert Stark. I forget, one of them. And he was like 81. He was flying the plane, and the plane crashed in Boca Raton, right near where it took off, and right near where his company that he, multi-billion-dollar company that he built up for 40 years, that is called, I think it's like the US Info-Com LLC. They're also in Fort Lauderdale. But when that US Info-Com LLC company family passed away in that little plane crash last year, when all those planes were falling out of the sky, and they all had highly successful people like this, and people that were in fields, business enterprises that might compete with like a Tesla company owner, ex-owner. And they tried to downplay what type of business and industry they were in. And they tried to downplay how highly successful and huge this little ma and pa company had become over the course of over 40 years. And US Info Communicom, it's just US Info-Com LLC, might be Cisco. But if not, they're like this with Cisco. And we've all heard of Cisco, but none of us have heard of this US Info-Com that specialized in fiber optics and satellite communication systems for large corporations. Okay. Glad I was able to get that into this video. And then I have this note: Trump is flipping out. And yeah, it's all connected, in my opinion. He's under fire for the slave trade that's in the Trumpstein files, that specific SEX kind of slave trade that they were probably communicating about with companies like US Info-Com Incorporated, or this one by the freaking Zorro Ranch, the Comtech Communication. And, they're flipping out because they don't want to have their slave trade dry up. Like, they make a lot of money with that. In my opinion, that's what's been going on at Mar-a-Lago for a long time. That's what was going on at Pedo Island for a long time. That's what was going on at Zorro Ranch for a long time, and Tom Ford's ranch. In my opinion, that's what these people did. And then they would cover by saying, oh, it's a beauty pageant. Oh, it's a modeling agency. Blah, blah, blah. Like, F you, quit hurting people and quit silencing victims. The jig is up. I got my magic wand. The jig is up, mofo. Oh, did I make it skip? I'm sorry. Yeah, that happens when you get a little cray like that. Okay, where are we? I think I love my bunny. I think we should call him Mr. Bunny. LOL, me too, Billy. Well, I know that you're going to have to fight Biggly Piggly for him, because Biggly Piggly wants him all to himself. And if he can't have him, no one can. He's just going to cancel him. He can wear whatever he wants or nothing at all. Bad Bunny looks hot in a dress. Yes, he can wear what he wants. The dancing was samba and gorgeous. Girl, samba is wow. Everyone have a wonderful night tonight and love you ladies and God bless everyone. Amen. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you feel better quickly, Michael. Hope you're on the rebound, on the mend. Scottish guys, some can be hot in their shirts. You mean the kilts? Is that what they're called? Kilts? Those can be very hot. There's a kilt company in Seattle that makes the man's skirts, and there's a lot of guys in Kentucky that work in construction who wear them. And I'll give you a TMI. They wear them commando in the summer because it's so humid there. But they basically turn them into like tool belts. So they're just wearing their tool belt and nothing else. And they're big boots. They're big like construction combat boots. And yeah, you see pictures? They're freaking hot. Hotter than hot. Oh, those kilts, yes. I forget the name of the company. They're in Seattle. A friend of mine worked there. I went to the company. They're like $400, $500 for a freaking man skirt. Is all audio video skipping? Sometimes my brain is slow. Good night, Michael. Okay, I just want to check the rest of my notes and then we'll wrap up because we've been on for 2 hours and 15 minutes. Thanks so much for being here, people. You're the best. So yeah, the Bigly Pigly's gotten himself into checkmate with Jizz. He's painted himself into a corner. He's going down like 4 flat tires, in my humble conspiracy theory opinion, allegedly. Sorry that I made it skip, Annabise. When you do all the hand movements like that, that can make it weird. And I was waving my magic wand and pointing it and everything. Everything needs to be renamed Trump. Like every body of water, every building, every team, every country, everything needs to be named Trump. Every road, every school. Okay, got it. And every football league. Yes. Because it's just unfair to have things not named after him. Seriously. He's been treated very unfairly this whole time with things not being named after him. So let's fix it. Let's name everything after him. And then he can quit throwing a toddler tantrum for a minute or two before he decides he wants galaxies named after him. And then we'll get right on that, right? Oh, the Scottish people hate little t, don't they? Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. This year has been the longest year since 2025, really. That's just poetic right there. We should just wrap up real quick before it turns into a 2.5 hour live. I love you guys. This is so refreshing, so therapeutic. I appreciate you. Drink your water. Eat your protein and your veggies. Totally agree, Billy. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And let's pray for the Guthries.